This program contains subject matter and language that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
My name is Robert. I live in Lamar, South Carolina, and I'm 31 years old. I live with my wife, Miranda, and my two children, Emily and Robert, Jr.
We were put in a position where we really had it made, but things are very different now.
I'm addicted to crack cocaine. I bet I spent $100,000 last year on crack, coke, booze, pills.
Robert and I receive money from tenants and people that are renting to own their property.
Nothing today.
When Robert first started having the problem, we made an agreement that certain properties were going to be his money for drugs and certain properties were going to be my money for paying all of our bills and taxes and taking care of our children. Now, all of our money goes to drugs, every bit of it. Being married to a drug addict is a very different thing from being married to someone who has any other kind of illness. You spend the entire time not knowing what to do or what's going to happen next, so you sort of stumble through it.
My biggest fear for Rob, he's close to death. It's obvious.
He is nothing but skin and bones. His face is so sunk in, it looks like his eyeballs are about to pop out.
It's like there's not an ounce of fat anywhere left on him. I truly believe that he is going to die. I don't even recognize him anymore as being the same person that I married.
Robert was a happy kid. Well, I loved him to death, and we did a lot of good things together.
Rob's dad was a local farmer.
Rob had a rough upbringing. His parents weren't ever married. They argued and fought all the time in front of him.
When he was like 11, I decided to leave his dad. And, you know, I had full custody of him, and I took him with me.
The reason Rob's mom and dad split was basically Rob's mom started using drugs.
Rob's father didn't like anyone using drugs. He just despised any kind of hard drugs.
She got clean for a while, but it was only short periods, you know, a month, 2 months. And, you know, as soon as things would get good, then they would get bad again.
Rob went back and forth between the two of them. When he was with his mother, they would stay with whatever man she was with at the time to keep a roof over their head.
As time went on, Rob's mom's addiction got worse.
So I would be pulled from drug house to drug house and seeing a lot of things that I shouldn't have seen, that even grown people shouldn't know about.
His mom started giving him drugs or smoking crack with him when he was 13 years old.
It's been said that you introduced Rob to crack.
Yeah, everybody says I smoked crack with my son when he was 12 years old. That's a bunch of bull. That's all I got to say.
The first time I tried crack, I don't remember exactly how I felt, but I know that crack made me feel good and I wanted more. And it came from my mom and a friend of hers. You know, my life was a mess. I was getting in trouble, breaking in houses. I got caught with drugs at school, selling drugs, weed, crack. I got expelled, suspended.
When Rob was 15, his dad sent him to military school in Camden, South Carolina, trying to straighten him out, basically try to get him off the drugs.
When I was in the military academy, I loved it. I loved every day of it. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay.
When Rob finished military school, his dad was hoping it was all over, that was the solution. And it seemed to be for a while.
I took my last paycheck and I bought some cocaine and some weed with it. It wasn't much, but it was enough to get started. And I started selling, and I did time for that. I got caught with a lot of cocaine.
Rob's dad was ashamed of him having to bail him out. We live in a very small town. Everybody knows your business. At that point, he was ready to wash his hands of him.
I realized that if I didn't leave here, that I was going to get pulled right back into it. So my grandma gave me some money, and I got on a bus and I went to Virginia.
And when he finally went to Virginia and got himself straight, you could tell when Rob would come back home to visit that Rob was like a totally different person again.
I met Robert while I was working in Norfolk, Virginia. When Rob and I got together, we fell in love almost immediately. He was working for a tree business, and we ended up starting our own tree business together.
In a short time, you know, maybe less than a year, we went from just a little pickup truck and a chainsaw to a very big business.
It turned out to be a very successful business in a very short amount of time. Robert and I got married about a year after we started dating. Things were really good between us.
We invited my father to come down and go fishing with us on our honeymoon. That was one of the best weekends I think I've ever had in my life. You know, I had my dad back finally.
Rebuilding the relationship with Rob was just like healing all the old wounds. Rob's dad was proud of him.
When I lived in Virginia, that was the best my life had ever been. We had Emily, my daughter. Then a year later, we had my son, Junior.
And when we came here, everyone was very proud of him for the way he had turned his life around.
When Rob's dad was diagnosed with the cancer, he was told he only had no more than 6 months to live.
When my dad got sick, I didn't ask any questions. I shut the door on my business and I came here to take care of him.
Rob ended up staying with his father, and he was there in the room when he passed.
And to have to watch him suffer through cancer. Y'all gotta give me a minute.
The moment his father died, he became a completely different person.
It was the day of the funeral. I couldn't get to the crack man fast enough that I started using nonstop.
It went completely out of control so quickly.
I sold off probably about $20,000 worth of tree trimming equipment, ropes, climbing gear to support my habit.
He would leave and not come home for days at a time. He would lie to me about where money went.
Rob's dad, he acquired quite a large amount of property before he passed away.
What he left me, as far as paper money goes, I've blown it. I've sold some of the property as well. Not all of it, not yet. We sold one piece of property and blew it on drugs. We were collecting about $7,500 a month in rent on our properties. There's a lot of money in a small town. I'm probably gonna keep on selling property until I reach my bottom.
If he does not get under control immediately, we could lose everything in the next 6 months.
After I check my balance, I have to throw my receipt away so that he doesn't know how much money is in the bank. Because it does not matter if there's 5 cents or $5,000, he has to have all of it.
When Rob's run out of money, he aggravates Miranda constantly. And I've told her over and over, all you're doing is enabling him to go out there and do the drugs.
What's the verdict, baby?
The verdict is this has got to be it.
Normally I start my day off with about $60, but you know, she just don't have it today, so take whatever you can get. It'll hold me over at least until I can work something else out.
You know that I've loved you since the moment I met you. You're the most loving man, and you always made me feel safe and taken care of. You've always made me laugh and made even the boring times more bearable. And before you got sick, you were an amazing father to our children. If you accept this opportunity and see it through to the end, I will wait for you and support you every step of the way. But if you turn this down or leave before they say you're ready, I have no choice but to go through with the divorce. Please do this.
Let's go.
Okay.
I've been sober now for 51 days. The differences in my life today compared to 50, 60 days ago is just I'm happy, I'm healthy, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. I'm a joyful person now. I'm not some raging lunatic trying to get dope. Hey, baby.
My first thought when I saw Rob was how healthy he looked and how he didn't look like he was dying anymore. I'm very pleased.